I would have been in a ISRO doing the programs for all the spaceships and missiles and stuff like that because my first offer letter came from ISRO.
Wow.
But I joined TISCO, Tata Steel, been the line of academics and learn and teach people.
Okay.
So Delhi IIT hired me as a professor. And then I think AgreeYa came into the picture.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's this lot of question on stability, loyalty towards a company, etc., right? You have actually broken the barrier, so to say, with 2 decades in the same company.
If you die every day, I die from Ratish, I die from the camera, I die from my family, I die from my job. The next day actually I'm reborn and look at everything with a fresh perspective.
You started with, ISRO से आया वो नहीं किया, फिर कहीं और किया, फिर professor बने, फिर IT. You kind of have
navigated different spaces.
So people who have that nature, they usually, even if they are settled at one place, there will always this inkling of, let me just do something here, something there.
Yeah.
My passion is here, like you mentioned, right?
Correct.
I mean, maybe technology is not your passion, maybe travel is, for all I know, right?
Yeah.
कभी ऐसा हुआ आपके साथ?
So, if I understand you correctly, have I thought about doing something of my own as an example, instead of just doing a journey under an umbrella of a corporate structure and stuff like that? See, why do people take that jump, or why do people set up something of their own? I think one is that they want to fulfill some of their passion.
Correct.
Other is that maybe creating a wealth, becoming rich, or maybe extend your platform for other people to come in and find their life or their profession. And you're helping the community and stuff like that. So because wealth creation was never my goal, so setting up something just monetize and make profit out of that never excited me and still doesn't excite me. And then I found, as I said, and as you understand me, that the larger framework of life is always important for me. And I have varied interest, as you said, travel, food, or meeting with people, being with nature, being in solitude.
Yeah.
So I thought that doing something of my own will bring a lot of thoughts, and my time will go into building it up, sustaining it, and scaling it up. So I found that working, even though I work 14 hours, 12 hours, because I cover US, India, multiple zones. Having said that, still I feel that I'm independent, that at some point of time I can think that I'm with myself and I don't have to carry a thought about a responsibility and ownership. It's not detaching, but it's all about picking up some time in the day or in your life where you don't have to think about managing something, wherein you are true to yourself. So I think building something would have possibly, instead of flexibility and freedom, that would add more anxiety and more involvement, which I found that may not be the cup of tea for me. That is one of the reasons. And AgreeYa, within the organization, even though you might see that, it's a structure that I need to build, but there's a lot of independence, freedom, and I had a kind of good journey which made me feel and do things the way I want to, with little modification and with little advice coming in. But it was as good as being an entrepreneur within the organization. So that desire also was fulfilled in a way, just because the framework that I got was actually nurturing me towards, and not feeling the gap. Oh, I'm tired, I need to do something of my own, this is not what I like. That's the pretty much.
Nice. जैसे कि आप आजकल देख रहे होंगे, there is a lot of conversation, incidents, which is pertaining to mental health. And what do you think people should do if they are in something like this?
Well, that's a great question, and this is something that all leaders should think about, because the corporate journey or business or being a techie, everything is good, but end of it, life is most important. I think we are more and more becoming fragile as a civilization, as humans. Our ability to cope up is deteriorating because we are not learning things which are important to life, but rather being very focused into driving a goal and pursue expectations which are unreal in many cases. Right from the child, parents expect a lot about the results. In our time, or I grew up in a joint family, it's not that there were no problems. There are many things that went on, but the problems were not a problem, right? We all dealt with it, right?
Right.
Like when suppose I get a scolding or my father boxing my ear or giving me a slap, it was never an abuse. It was just a thing that was common, and it is all about mending yourself to the rightful thing because you have been possibly punished. But now you cannot do that because that will be treated as, okay, I mean, the child is sensitive and you cannot possibly, I know it's the right thing to do. You know, many of the things we are not able to cope up today because either we are defining it to be good, bad, or whatever that might be. And the ability for a child or even a worker in the business workplace, I think it is becoming, they are not able to adapt and take this on. First of all, a couple of things. One is that, and why that gap is coming up and why I said fragile is because we are not taking care of our own foundation to deal with it. First of all, your physical ability. The body that you have has to be fit, has to cope up with the stress that come in, right? Maybe you are driving, maybe you are into situation where you are facing hardship, or maybe the weather condition is not good, or then maybe there is a pollution. We all face that problem in a metro like Delhi. But then if you are sound in your health and if you take extra steps to remain healthy, eating good food, getting up early, go for a walk, those things will help you to build a framework which will allow you to sustain the stress in a much better way. Then comes the mind part. What is your mind doing? Is the mind trapped in seeking for gratitude, pleasure, momentary happiness? Or your mind is balanced, which is full of intellect? Or does the mind get attached to the different aspect of life, like nature, like books, like travel, like food and stuff like that? If you can balance the mind, I think the body and mind combination will help you to cope up with the stress much more easily. And then comes your overall understanding of the life, which will make you not be drowned in a problem when it comes to you and succumb to it, but rather you will have the maturity to come out of it and deal in a different way. In the corporate environment, to be particular about it, I think we should be all careful as a leader so that we do not drive unnecessary expectation, because many a times we are driving the expectation without knowing what the person is going through. So one of my manager long back, he said, don't allow your employee to go home unhappy on a Friday evening.
Okay.
Because he'll think over that and Monday he'll come back as an unhappy employee of yours. So don't do that. And second is that when you come again on Monday or any other day of the week, maybe he has gone through a trauma in the family or maybe some unhappy situation that he has gone through, but you are bombarding him with a task or some expectation, and every word that you say as a manager to him, you know that it is something like he will feel that, oh my God, my manager lacks the empathy and I cannot deal with it. So he goes into a stress mode and then finally he slowly gets detached from the organization. So you have to be careful about, I think the empathy comes in as a big factor wherein we all have to deal with the human, because the end of it is not about a piece of work and a technology and a program, but there's a person who has the mind and who has a sensitivity and he has a background and a context. We have to be aligned to that. If we do that, I think we can make it a better, happier workplace and people will be able to deal with it better. And mind, body, intellect, if we can take care of building it up and in a proper way, then I think it should be a better place to be in.
Great. So there's so much stuff that you say about spirituality and curiosity that I have. कि आप शुरू से ही you were spiritual, or was it something that happened or you saw a change that led to this transformation?
Very insightful question, because that actually I have to take the shell out and try to find out who am I actually, and who am I is the essence of spirituality, right? So there is a quest always to understand why am I here and what purpose do I serve. That question was always there in my mind from childhood, right? And that came from some of the family backgrounds and my lot of reading that I did around this space, which made me a very curious child. Spirituality to me, Ratish, is not religious thing for me. I don't go to temple very often. So I'll not say that I'm religious, but I'm spiritual, because spirituality to me is, first of all, knowing who am I. And it's a quest of making you better every day, which you talked about just a few minutes back. How you evolve as a human being. Today, what we are, Ratish and Arindam, and we are talking is not about what you have learned in your life, but it's a collective consciousness that humanity or civilization has achieved over million years through the genetics and evolution of species. Now, who will answer that question? The moment you delve into that kind of curiosity and try to find an answer, you'll have to go and understand life in a very different way.
Right.
And because of those things used to come on my head right from my childhood, college days, and even now, and that's one of the aspects of spirituality which will never leave me. So that's one aspect. Second aspect is beyond your own self-discovery. It's all about the connectedness with the larger ecosystem, your organization, your village, your country, the universe, the galaxy. As you go bigger and bigger, you got to find that you are a dot in the ocean of different form of life and non-life, whatever it is. And finding that connectedness is important because you are not by yourself. You are in association with everything that is around you. That's another aspect of spirituality. But through this journey and the quest, what I've discovered is, to me, spirituality today is more of being in the present, practicing mindfulness. I die every day and get reborn next day. It all can happen when you are practicing mindfulness. So that's what the three aspects of spirituality: your self-discovery, evolution, your connectedness to the bigger world, and being in the present. So this is something that gives me solution to life. Getting into a balance where you are neither happy nor sad is the perfect stage to be in. So that's what spirituality means to me.
Does that help you in work?
Of course, yes.
When you have these deadlines and difficult phone
Yeah,
calls?
because you are not, as I say, this help you to respond and not to react. As an example, the moment you react, you are not in yourself. You are actually
But you're human also at the end of the day. Right?
You are, but I think that gives you a better ability to handle those targets and goals, because once you are stable in yourself, I think you can define better solution. Like you talked about solution, right? Be a technology or a business solution. How do you define a solution? You cannot think innovative if you are being conditioned by all the learning that you had.
True.
But to get to a solution, you got to free your mind, unlearn a lot of things, and bring creativity. And that can only happen when you practice mindfulness to actually apply your consciousness at that point of time to actually go into building a solution, because you are seeing that objectively and not being drowned by or influenced by something that is there as a baggage for you. Spirituality helps to sustain your quest, your the energy that you need to drive whatever you need to drive in the business. It gives you the strength of not to be negative and remain positive and always move towards something that always have a positive impact. So it definitely is interlinked.
Perfect. Okay, so now let's come back to you. Glorious career you've had, not only at AgreeYa but otherwise as well. Must be 3 decades plus, I presume, and must have had a lot of moments. 2-3 things that you could have done differently when you look back today. Are there any?
I would not have loved, liked to change anything that has happened in my life or what I've decided about it. So I'll not go back and try to correct it. Given a chance, say that what 2 things you'll do differently, I'll say no. Let it be whatever it was. But if I look back where I took some important decisions, as an example, when I was in US and I came back to India without any real reason for that. When there was a career and the American dream that I could have pursued, I decided to come back to India when India was not a great country to be in terms of building up a great professional career and leading a luxurious life and stuff like that. I took the decision and came back. So if you ask me...
Sorry, I'll just interject you here, and you can choose not to answer it, but was it driven by any personal situation here, or was it just purely...
Kind of personal and kind of my, again, the quest of life. First of all, I think I always wanted to look and be close to my parents. That is one aspect of it. The bigger aspect was actually, as you are hearing me, that I'm in a quest for something, a higher goal, not just a business
Monetary
goal.
And
Yeah,
all that,
correct. I think India always intrigued me in the way the whole country, the heritage, the history, and the people, and the diversity that we have, right? I mean, as an example, if you look into the food habits, the language, the different kind of natural beauty that we have. I mean, there is so much of variety, and life is so much of full, and you never end up experiencing life in a different way in this country. I found somehow life in the West, US and all, is very monotonous, and it's the kind of revolves around some pattern.
Okay.
It's a robotic in the way that everything is formatted, everything is laid out, everything is disciplined, there's a rule for that, and people go after that.
So and you like chaos.
I like chaos because I think end of it, you are very happy in a situation when there's unpredictability. And you solve that and you become happy about it. When you are, like it's hot summer in Delhi outside 42 degrees, if you are out and feeling the heat and come back in the AC, you feel good about it. But if you are in AC all the time, you'll not feel the difference of that happiness. Because in India, what happens is when you are dealing with a lot of anxiety problems and hurdles and hardships, and you come out of it and then you actually find that you are more satisfied. Even though it may not have given you enough of millions of dollars and stuff like that, but you are happy end of the day. Second is I find that I think India is a great country where people are happy by and large across the all strata of life. You see, go to the street, there is a, people know, they don't actually complain about and the difference of his status and somebody else's status of life or something.
Right.
They're happily enjoying their own family life, they're out in the street. I feel like that connectedness in the chain of humanity, wherein I feel deeply ingrained and rooted in the soil. So that is getting more prominent now, but it was there that time as well. Any decision, Ratish, that you take makes you travel another road. And that itself is something that you are destined for, right? You don't get something by going through a path, but you get something else by going through another path. It is not a regret. I would not have changed it sitting here. And then working for TCS, HCL Technologies, going into a small setup and starting something with a lot of unknowns like AgreeYa when it started. Was that a good decision? Moving out of a large company to a smaller company, and then I think it was a good decision. I'll say again that I was more fulfilled and I was more satisfied, and I learned much more than what I would have in the other setup. So to answer your question, you can always go back and say, why did I do this or what I could have done better? I never do that because I have no regret of what I have done and decided in the past. So no, I would not change anything that has happened.
Nothing you would want to do differently.
No.
Great, perfect. There are a lot of people who are today in a middle management role, right? And everybody aspires to be a C-suite like you, like Chief Operating Officer, Chief Technology Officer, Chief Marketing Officer, in our case, Chief Marketing Officer. So what is the advice you would like to give to people who are in the middle management today and aspiring to get to the top of the ladder? How should they conduct?
No, I think that's something that I can, with my learning that I had for over 30 years, I think becoming strong in yourself is the first and the most important thing. You got to be profound and you got to be excellent in something that you do, which means your ability to maybe design a solution, maybe connecting with people, or maybe your ability to handle clients or acquiring business, backed up by some personal strength, which can be your intellect, can be your knowledge, can be your ability to communicate. So don't think about a power position, growth path, promotions and stuff like that, but rather build yourself up. And as you do that, those positions will meet you. You don't have to go after that position. That's number one. Number two is that along with the skill that you develop, both knowledge from technology, business, as well as your inherent soft skill, personal strength and stuff like that, it is important to be good in everything as yourself, right? You eat good food, you dress up properly, you look good, you take care of your health. So all these are very important so that you are actually confident in yourself and happy in yourself. So result orientation will be very, very important. And since you are in marketing, you know that the value is nothing but what is being perceived as a value by the beneficiary.
Absolutely.
So that orientation will also make you creating outcome, which will be very important for the stakeholder to take you to a leadership role who can actually make those things happen. And the last but not the least, it is important that you are aligned with the organization. So instead of becoming an antagonist and trying to finding faults and trying to see this is working not in this way or the other way, you become positive and remain aligned. Of course, there will be things that you may or may not agree with, but still you have to align. And at the end of it, the stakeholder who are deciding to bring you in as a leadership position should be comfortable, who can come in without disruption and remain aligned and get the job done.
Right. Perfect. So now I'm at the last question of our conversation. It was, I wish I could speak more, but as you know, the name of the show is Marketing Masala Maar Ke. So we have one masaledar question at the end, which is got nothing to do with. Also. Imagine if you could be a superhero for one day. Which superhero would you be and why?
Yeah, so who is a superhero? I'm thinking. Is a movie star, is a politician, is a character from fiction. It can be anything as a superhero. But I think superhero is more of there's a brand around a superhero.
Right.
I don't like the branding part of it because for me, it's more of a egoless journey. And as much as you can be natural to yourself, I like all the superheroes who are doing great something for distracting the evil or shining as a kind of, politician or maybe shining as a social reformer, whatever that might be. Talk about the movie that I saw day before yesterday.
Okay.
Animated movie, The Flow. I'm not sure if you have.
The Flow. Okay.
Flow. So The Flow is a movie where the world goes through that big flood comes in and we're on the verge of destruction and few species in that journey comes together and they try to build a community And there's some casualties and some collateral damage and all kind of stuff happens. So it's a fantastic movie where the flow means actually everything is non-permanent and transient in nature. There's a small cat
Okay.
who actually is part of that experience.
Mhm.
He's all through that. He's through the flow of water, flow of life, and all the thing that happens in the movie for about 2 hours, the flow around him. He's an observer. So that small black cat is my superhero, to answer you, because that aligns with my philosophy, and I like that, one actually is without attachment, being in the flow and be part of it. He's the protagonist and he's the character all through the movie. So you can.
Do you remember the name?
It didn't have any name because the movie was without any. I mean, there's a sound but no speech. There's no language.
No dialogues, nothing.
But I heard that the producer is given or the director is given a name to him on the back end, but no, there was no name for him in the movie.
Wow.
He's my superhero.
Wow. Oh no, perfect. I'll definitely go and watch it. Thank you for taking out time. Thank you for sharing your learnings, your insights.
Thank you so much for getting me in here. I don't know how and what I said in the last half an hour, 1 hour, but what came up in my mind, I tried to just depict it in a way which is natural and which is truthful. As a person, you are very warm. You can articulate well, and it was joy working with you and fantastic to be with you again in this forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm honored, and hopefully we'll meet again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. What an insightful episode. For me, this episode meant looking at things more objectively, looking at things which are far greater than the materialistic gains. It is about looking at things with a fresh perspective, being empathetic about things, and also not holding too many things too hard. What was it for you? Do write in the comment box and let me know. Please do like, share, follow, and comment. And again, I'll see you again very soon. Thank you.